Hello students, today we are doing class 7 physics chapter 2 motion part 5 and we are discussing about speed and velocity. First we will discuss about speed. Speed by definition it is the distance travelled by an object in unit time. Now what this means is, let's say object is starting from point A and proceeding towards, let's say, point B, and in each second, let's say in time is equal to 1 second, the first 1 second it covers, let's say, a distance of 5 meter. So here the speed of the object here is 5 meter in 1 second. So if we have to calculate this, you can see that distance, let's say d, is 5 meters and time here we have seen is 1 second. So to be able to calculate speed, we divide the distance by the time. In this case it is 5 meter by 1 second, which will give you the speed of the object as 5 meter per second. Now next let us discuss about uniform speed. Now let's say this object starting from A, okay, in the first 1 second it covers a distance of 5 meters. In the second and in the second 1 second it covers the same distance of 5 meters, and in the third 1 second it also covers the same distance of 5 meters. By looking at this, we can see that in every second it is covering a distance of 5 meters, 5 meters, 5 meters. So if the object is covering the same distance per unit time, it is called uniform speed. So by definition, uniform speed is that if an object covers equal distance in equal interval of time, equal distances in equal interval of time. Okay, in this case the equal distances are 5 meters and the equal interval time is 1 second. So if an object is covering a distance or an equal distance in per unit time is the same, this is called the uniform speed. Now let us move on to non-uniform speed. Let's say you have an object, in the first 1 second it covers 5 meters, second 1 second it covers 2 meters, third 1 second it covers 8 meters. As you can see clearly from here that in every 1 second interval it is covering a different amount of distances. In the first 1 second is 5 meters, second 1 second is 2 meters, third 1 second is 8 meters. So it is covering different amount of distances in the same unit of time. So if a body is moving in that kind of motion, okay, it is called a non-uniform speed, or it is also called a variable speed. So by definition, non-uniform speed is if an object covers unequal distances in equal intervals of time. So you can see the distances are unequal, 5, 2 and 3, and equal interval of time is 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. So because the distances covered are unequal, it is called a non-uniform speed or a variable speed. Next, average speed. Average speed is the ratio of the total distance travelled by the total time taken. So let's say, for example, an object or a body, it covers the distance from A to B and we need to find the average speed of that. So you can see that in the first 1 second it is covering a distance of 5 meters, in the second 1 second it is covering a distance of 2 meters. So in this case the total distance, let's say I call TD, is 5 meters plus 2 meters, and the total time is, in this case, 1 second plus 1 second. This will give me 2 seconds, this will give me 7 meters. So the average speed is the total distance divided by the total time, which is 7 meters by 2 seconds, which is 3.5 meter per second. So in this case, average speed is basically over a given distance, the total time taken by the object to cover the distance, and we calculate the total amount of distance it covers in that much time. So we divide the total distance by total time and you can find the average speed. Alright, let us discuss about velocity. Velocity by definition is almost the same as the arrow speed, but it is the distance traveled by an object in unit time and in a given direction. So if you remember what the definition of speed we wrote, it is the distance traveled by an object in unit time. So up to here was the definition of speed, and as you can see, the additional thing that is in the definition of velocity is it is in a given direction, DIRECTION, direction. So the difference between speed and velocity here is that speed is simply the distance traveled by an object in unit time, whereas velocity is the distance traveled by an object in unit time, and it also has a direction. So let's say, for example, you have a body starting from A and going to B in this direction, and it covers a distance of, let's say, 5 meters, and it takes a time of 1 second. So, and let's say it is traveling upwards, which is, let's say, traveling towards the north. So in the case of velocity, the distance upon time, right, if we calculate, this will give me 5 meters by 1 second, which is 5 meters per second, which is the speed of the object. But in addition to that, I can write n to indicate the direction. So velocity has a direction in this case, so I can write that velocity is 5 meters per second in the north direction. Now in the case of uniform velocity, which is similar to what we discussed in speed. Let's say, for example, if a body starts from A going up to point B, and in the, let's say, in the first 1 second it covers a distance of, let's say, 8 meters, and in the second 1 second it also covers a distance of 8 meters. So you can see here, and it is traveling the same direction in both the times. So in this case, the velocity we say it is uniform because in the equal interval of time of 1 second each, it is covering the same distance of 8 meters and 8 meters. Now in the case of non-uniform velocity, in the equal intervals of time, it can be traveling at different, it can be covering different distances. Let's, for example, when the body is traveling in the same direction, and in the first 1 second it covers 8 meters, and the second 1 second it covers 5 meters. As you can see that it covers a different amount of distance in the same amount of in time interval, but traveling in the same direction, it is called a non-uniform velocity. But there's one more thing, that is, let's say it travels from A to B, let's say A to, let's say, O, and covers a distance of 8 meters in a time interval of 1 second, but it changes direction, but covers the same distance of 8 meters in the time interval 1 second, despite the fact that it is covering 8 meters in the first 1 second and 8 meters in the second 1 second. This looks like as if it is a uniform case of uniform velocity, but in this case it isn't, because while in the first 1 second it is traveling towards the east, in the second direction it is traveling towards the north. So because there is a change in direction, despite the fact that the distance that is covered by it is same, it is also a case of non-uniform velocity in this case. So there are two cases in which velocity can be non-uniform. First, in the equal interval of time, traveling the same direction, it can cover unequal distances. Otherwise, the second case is in equal interval of time 1 second each, it can cover equal distances, but it can change the direction. Right, thank you.